The first fighter on the list was Lewiba, the opponent in Manny Pacquiao's debut fight in America. This match marked Pacquiao's opportunity to introduce himself to the American boxing audience. However, the odds were heavily stacked against him. He had accepted the fight on just 2 weeks' notice, making him a massive underdog against a highly regarded South African champion. The situation looked so bleak that even Pacquiao's own team had lost hope before the bout began. To top it off, renowned ring announcer Michael Buffer struggled to pronounce Pacquiao's name correctly, highlighting how unknown he was at the time.
WBC Super Bantamweight World Champion Manny Pacquiao. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red.
In the dressing room, just minutes before stepping into the ring, Manny Pacquiao noticed the somber expressions on the faces of his team. The atmosphere was heavy with doubt. Pacquiao was a major underdog, and Lewiba was considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world at the time. Sensing the discouragement around him, Pacquiao lifted both arms with confidence and broke the silence. He assured everyone that by the end of the fight, they would hear the words, and the new /.
You want to fight? The fight is yours, but it's not going to develop like that.
You talk about getting old in a hurry. Lewiba looks like an old 29.
Just before leaving the dressing room, Pacquiao's handler, Nazario, leaned in and whispered a simple but fierce instruction into his ear. Smash Lewiba's nose in the first round. Pacquiao, calm and focused, nodded in agreement and replied with quiet determination, "Okay, boss."
He took this fight on only 2 weeks' notice, only came here to America 10 days ago, and he is banging Lewiba.
The unsuspecting Lewiba was overwhelmed by Pacquiao's relentless assault. He was knocked down once in the second round, and then twice more in the sixth. The final blow left Lewiba on his back, prompting referee Joe Cortez to mercifully step in and stop the fight. As the match came to a dramatic end, the crowd erupted, rising to its feet in astonishment and applause for the unknown Filipino who had just shocked the boxing world. Next on Pacquiao's list was a relentless, violent puncher determined to prove that he possessed more firepower than the Filipino icon. But when Manny launched his assault, the brutality of the beating was so intense that the opponent's wife fled the arena during the 9th round. At this point in his career, Pacquiao was riding high, coming off 2 of his most dominant victories. First dismantling Oscar de la Hoya, then brutally knocking out Ricky Hatton. Now, standing in his way was Puerto Rican multiweight champion Miguel Cotto. Cotto was no ordinary challenger. He was a true pitbull in the ring, tough, relentless, technically skilled, and a master of ring generalship. The bout was promoted as a clash of sheer firepower. While many expected a slugfest, Pacquiao proved that he was more than just a heavy hitter. He displayed his precision and versatility with devastating effect, dropping Cotto in the 3rd round with sharp right hook and again in the 4th with a crushing left uppercut.
He's been caught by surprise. He's a good fighter. He had no idea.
Pacquiao may take care of it for him. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
From that point on, the beating was relentless. Manny Pacquiao's incredible hand speed was simply too much for the Puerto Rican fighter, Miguel Cotto. Despite his courage and determination, Cotto was overwhelmed by Pacquiao's dazzling combinations. Referee Kenny Bayless, drawing on his vast experience in world title bouts, decided to stop the fight in the 11th round, ending the brutal contest.
I'm not okay.
There's a weariness and almost a resignation in the eyes of Lewiba.
Yeah, and Joe Cortez has seen enough. That's a TKO victory for the very impressive Manny Pacquiao, who takes a good fighter and just takes him apart with power settings.
There was intense bad blood with this next fighter, who had ended Pacquiao's long-held winning streak. However, Pacquiao responded with vengeance, delivering the first knockout of his opponent's 52-fight career, evening the score at 1-1. Eric Morales, a proud Mexican warrior, was determined to take revenge, setting the stage for their final showdown.
And he's been driven back. Nice movement from Cotto to avoid those shots. He's got it done.
down, and you could see he was actually flagging in the wind, it looked like, before he went down. Twice. They'll get saved.
At this point, Manny Pacquiao was at his blinding peak. Every punch came fast and with devastating intent. Erik Morales fought back bravely, but it was clear he was up against a much faster and more powerful version of Pacquiao than before. Morales took risks, opening up more, but Pacquiao's relentless speed proved too much. He knocked Morales down 3 times, with a final blow ending the fight at 2:57 of the third round at the Thomas and Mack Center. This was the same Morales, nicknamed Terrible, known for his fearless swagger and never backing down in the ring. Before his second fight against Pacquiao in January of last year, Morales had never been stopped. Pacquiao had lost their first meeting in March 2005, when a cut above his right eye blurred his vision. But in the second fight, Pacquiao knocked Morales down twice in the final round. Morales blamed that loss on struggling to make the 130-pound weight limit.
Deal can be made. Anything you've seen tonight. The way of good judgment, because
This guy may not fight again if he takes a beating now.
and Manny, one of the photographers is actually on the apron saying, "Congratulations."
Stinging combinations.
This was not a sign of things to come, however, as Pacquiao quickly responded by knocking down his Mexican opponent in the third round. He then unleashed his signature all-action fighting style, relentlessly pressuring Barrera. The fast pace clearly wore down the Mexican great's legs, leaving Barrera a sitting target. By the 11th round, Pacquiao was overwhelming him with a barrage of punches. Seeing the punishment, Barrera's trainer, Ruby Perez, stepped into the ring and stopped the fight, asking the referee to mercifully end the carnage. In retrospect, this was one of Pacquiao's easiest fights during his peak years. He delivered a devastating farewell to one of boxing's greatest legends, sending him into retirement with undeniable finality. Going into the fight, many expected a mismatch in favor of Oscar de la Hoya. Although the biggest name in boxing at the time, de la Hoya was past his prime at 35 and naturally the bigger fighter. Pacquiao had only fought once at lightweight before moving up to welterweight to face a man who had competed as high as 160 pounds, a disadvantage many thought would be insurmountable. But in the ring, Pacquiao proved too fast, too active, and simply too skilled for the once great Mexican-American, delivering a punishing beating to de la Hoya. After the 8th round, de la Hoya's corner retired him, and he never fought again after that.
Knockdown. Or was it a knockdown? It was not a punch.
Definitely not a punch.
This next fight is often cited as the most inspiring moment of Pacquiao's career. Ricky Hatton, confident and in peak condition, was known as a relentless, machine-like brawler who could take down almost anyone, except Floyd Mayweather. Yet, the passionate fans of the MGM who fervently chanted, "There's only one Ricky Hatton," quickly realized that Pacquiao was something far more extraordinary. Hatton, clearly too slow for Pacquiao's lightning speed, was knocked down twice in the first 3 minutes. He returned to his corner with a stun. "What just hit me?" Look as the round ended. Coming out of the neutral corner, Pacquiao landed a powerful left hand, just a prelude to what was coming next. Moments before the second round ended, Pacquiao, seemingly at the peak of his powers, delivered a legendary left cross that instantly knocked Hatton unconscious. The referee, Kenny Bayless, didn't even bother to count as the crowd erupted in awe.
Sorry. Whatever happened. Just to repeat the exchange I just heard, Manny said to Oscar, "You're still my idol." And Oscar said to Manny, "No, now you're my idol."
Until his corner retired him after the 8th. He would never fight again after that.
Did you see Pacquiao against Margarito?
No, and he himself says he's got
The best chance of you have a headache? How do we stop it? It's our decision, Oscar. It's a decision that we have to take. There's no reason to continue with this. He's too fast. Let's finish it. That's it. Let's go.
Pacquiao's legend was sealed at that moment. HBO commentator Jim Lampley called it the most spectacular one-punch knockout of Pacquiao's incredible career, while astute analyst Emmanuel Stewart said, "Any fighter." This fight was a powerful statement by Manny Pacquiao, proving who was truly king, not just in the ring, but in his homeland of the Philippines after years of fighting in America. His opponent, Battery, had built a fearsome reputation for his punching power, having knocked out over 20 Filipino fighters in his career. Many believed Manny Pacquiao would be next on his hit list. However, Manny had a different plan. He relentlessly pressed forward, determined to take control of the fight. It quickly became clear that Pacquiao was faster, stronger, and possessed superior boxing skills. He demonstrated this by flooring Battery with hard knockdowns in the second, third, and fourth rounds. In the fourth round, Manny increasingly found his mark with a sharp left uppercut and decided it was time to finish the fight. Once again, he showcased his devastating one-punch knockout power, nearly ripping off his opponent's head with a dynamite uppercut. The next fight was yet another showcase of Pacquiao at the peak of his powers at the super bantamweight limit. Manny entered the ring aiming to make his fourth defense of the International Boxing Federation world title, which he had won from Lele LeBlanc.
He's letting his fists do the talking sa laban na to with 1:25 to go. Again.
Pacquiao had the chance to showcase his phenomenal one-punch knockout power in this fight. It ended when his trademark lightning-fast left hand landed perfectly on Lucero's chin. Lucero immediately lost control of his legs and was clearly out on his feet. The blow was so powerful that Lucero instinctively turned his back and tried to steady himself by gripping the top rope. In obvious pain, Lucero took a knee, and seeing his condition, referee Jose Cobian wisely decided to stop the fight.
Solid punch from Manny Pacquiao dito po sa ating first and second round. Gina, that's because magandang depensa ni Pasag. Although tinatamaan siya dito, hindi masyadong solid, no? Because he's got both his hands up. That's a knockdown. That is a knockdown. Definitely knockdown yun. Tinamaan si Pasag. Sa noong tinamaan dito. Alam mo, sa volume of punches, it's about...
At this point, Pacquiao was still climbing the professional ladder. This fight took place early in his title reign at Super Bantamweight, as he defended his WBC International Super Bantamweight title.
Ayaw natin i-risk yan. And Manny Pacquiao now. Ang sabi nga naman ano dito, yes! One punch! The left hand. That left upper by Manny Pacquiao against Pasong Tirang. At sabi ni Pasong, okay, lalaban pa ako. Drop down Pasong in this round. Ito na naman. Goodbye. That's it. It's over. It's over. Manny Pacquiao, sensational knockout.
Pacquiao was rapidly gaining a reputation for his all-action fighting style and building what would become a massive fan following. At this weight, he was lightning quick, repeatedly landing hard punches with impressive speed. Although Baratillo was brave and willing to fight, he simply couldn't keep up with the Filipino speed and struggled to anticipate the incoming shots.
Is a headhunter. Lucero is a body punisher. Here's a closer look with Larry Merchant.
As a boy in Mexico City, he says his mother was an...
Baratillo kept coming, determined not to succumb to his opponent's will, but it wasn't meant to be. The fight ended when Baratillo tried to cut Manny off in the corner and timed a big left hook. Manny anticipated the move perfectly and countered with his own left hook, which crushed Baratillo, leaving him disoriented. After a delayed reaction, Baratillo was unable to continue.
First 2 rounds here. Feeling as though he's in control against Emmanuel Lucero. He is totally in control, and the referee instantly stops the fight.
He was out on his feet with a punch that landed...
The knockout was eerily similar to Mike Tyson's KO of Trevor Berbick, with a dynamite left hook and a delayed reaction to the blow. In this fight, Manny Pacquiao was defending his title for the first time. Despite being relatively unknown, he was fueled by motivation from the former Filipino president, who promised him a reward if he won. Pacquiao exploded into action that night, scoring 6 knockdowns before the fight was finally stopped.
Gentlemen, it's 12 rounds for the WBC Bantamweight International Championship. Your referee, Bruce.
Gabriel Mira earned the mandatory challenger spot by winning 7 straight fights before facing Pacquiao. At just 20 years old, Manny was reigning in the first of what would become a record 8 weight divisions.
Pursuing the taller Manny Pacquiao. This is only the second round, but the atmosphere here feels like it's already been done. Yeah, explosive NATO.
Heading into their fight at Araneta Coliseum, Mira told Rappler he knew little about the young champion from General Santos City, Philippines. He acknowledged Pacquiao's popularity at home, but never expected him to reach this level. Once the bell rang, Pacquiao dominated, dropping Mira twice in the second round, with 1 knockdown coming just after bell, once in the third, and 3 times in the fourth. Referee Richard Steele stopped the fight at 2:45 of the 4th round. To win the title, Pacquiao had to dethrone Thailand's Chache Saskal, who was making his 3rd defense of the green and gold belt. At just 19 years old, Pacquiao was the underdog. He hadn't yet competed at the world level and had already suffered a loss early in his young 24-fight career against journeyman Rustico Torrecampo 2 years earlier. In the early stages of the fight, things seemed to be unfolding just as many had expected.
Manny Pacquiao stopping his...
Saskal's superior footwork made him a difficult target for Pacquiao, who spent the first 7 rounds chasing the champion around the ring. Toward the end of the 7th, Pacquiao trapped Saskal against the ropes and unleashed a powerful left straight that landed flush on his opponent's chin. Saskal was sent crashing face first to the canvas from the force of the punch and was counted out by the referee, much to the shock of the packed crowd at Tunsuk College grounds in Phuamont, Thailand. This fight came at a challenging time for Manny Pacquiao, as his previous bout ended in a technical decision loss to Agapito Sanchez. Despite that, he entered the fight as the favorite, with Jorge Eliezer Julio offering little resistance against him. As expected, Manny Pacquiao made quick work of Jorge Eliezer Julio, stopping him via technical knockout in the 2nd round. This victory improved Pacquiao's record to 34-1, while Julio suffered his 44th loss. That's all for now. Stay connected for the best updates on news, moments, events, and action in the world of boxing by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications to catch all our quality content as soon as it drops.